Hello and welcome back to the Time Sweeps podcast. I'm Gary.
I'm Wyatt.
And I'm Connor. And this week we're talking about Spider-Man, Hawkeye, and just fair warning, we are going to talk about spoilers. We're not going to talk about them yet, but we will let you know whenever we talk about spoilers. But there's a lot of spoilers, so just fair warning.
Are you awake now?
I am.
I think we just maxed out the mics.
Oh, they were maxed out the whole time.
Good.
All right, so let's start off with Hawkeye because it's not, in my opinion, it's not as important, sort of, as the Spider-Man movie that we're going to talk about.
I was going to say, it's only smaller because it's on a streaming service. But that doesn't take away from that budget.
Oh, my God. Oh.
It's sad to say that Hawkeye is starting to report that out of all the Marvel shows, it has the lowest ratings, like people watching
Which is so sad because I think it's one of the best ones.
I think it's my second favorite so far.
After Loki.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Loki was just absolutely beautiful and well made.
Yep.
This comes next and how well it's being composed.
For me, Loki, Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision.
And I wish WandaVision
What
was
If?
better. Oh, crap, what if?
Oh, but I don't know. Probably above WandaVision, but not by much.
I'd agree with that. I think it's a bit, for me personally, I think it's a bit up there. Some of the episodes when What If had some problems here and there, but in the end, it really did bring itself together, I think.
Right.
At least the first season.
And we're going to have to talk about What If in a little bit.
We'll
few
get
months.
to that. We'll get to that bridge.
Yeah, we'll get to that bridge.
But anyway, so a lot of good things, or a lot of things happened. But this week in Hawkeye,
big week.
Well, so in Hawkeye, it felt like a lot of things happened and not a lot of things happened at the same time. Do you know what I'm talking about in episode 5?
It felt very plot-driven, and there was some action, but not a lot of action.
Right.
Yeah, it was like more of like it's a rising action episode.
We know we're about to get to the climax of.
Yeah, it really seals the deal that next week is the last episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not quite like the fourth and fifth episode of Loki where huge things were happening.
The whole time.
Yeah. This is like, it's going down.
Right. Yelling timber.
It's going down.
I'm yelling
timber. You better move.
Okay, we're done.
You better dance.
You better dance. The song is much more fun when you say it like a very angry redneck. I'm yelling timber. But yeah, so Hawkeye, the show continues to get better and better.
Oh yeah, it's like not that any episode has been bad.
It continues to.
It just
echo
continues
the
to grow.
That it's based on.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It gets better and better with its own twist because Kate Bishop is almost a flip of what she is in the comics. Same with Hawkeye. Hawkeye is much more.
He's more like Green Arrow comics. Like he's
nicer.
Yeah.
He's having fun.
Like
it's much fun as he can. He's still kind of depressed.
Him and Green Arrow in the comics are way more similar.
Besides
I'm talking personality wise, not like rich and like.
Oh yeah, no.
But like
Hawkeye is not rich.
No, they're very like outgoing and loud and like obnoxious, like
quipping.
Yes, exactly. They're both like.
Hawkeye is very much the class clown. That when he goes home is just sad.
He's from a circus. He
in the comics he started in the circus.
Right.
He got trained by other circus people who ended up becoming villains and heroes and so on.
Yep.
And
everyone in circus in DC and Marvel universes.
Literally, yeah. If you have a circus, something's going down.
Yep.
There was heroes, there were villains. You paid $2, you laughed, you cried,
and
you kissed those $2 goodbye.
Right. Exactly. So I think we're learning a lot more about Kate's mom and how she has a little hand, she has a bigger hand in the.
Yeah, she has some bigger ties than we first thought she was going to have.
Well, so this is I'm going to move into spoiler territory for Hawkeye.
For Hawkeye, I feel like we should talk about all the spoilers at one time. So
no, because we'll do Hawkeye and then Spider-Man all after Hawkeye.
Are you sure that that's what we want to do?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's easier to talk about all the things that aren't spoilers.
So
and
you want
then-
to go Hawkeye, Spider-Man again? That doesn't make sense to me.
No, what we would do is just talk about Hawkeye and Spider-Man, all the things that we think of the movies are impressions,
But
all the things that are not spoilers, so that way we can say, this is the spoiler region, turn away now. It makes it one solid chunk, so that way they can get their viewing pleasure out of, everything that's not a spoiler, and then go into everything that is a
but
spoiler.
half of that Hawkeye episode is like really spoilers, though.
I don't know about that.
Well, half the Spider-Man movies.
Half of the Spider-Man movie is.
Right.
So that's going to take a much bigger time.
That's why I think we just get Hawkeye out of the way and then just go into Spider-Man.
Okay. Actually, I'm not sure if enough people in our audience cares about Hawkeye.
Right.
Anyway, so it's a big deal, at least to me, to a lot of fans, because a big man has come back to grace us.
Come back from getting his butt kicked.
Came back from cancellation. He has dawned upon us in the glorious text message of Yelena Belova to Kate Bishop.
in all of his baldness,
In all of his bald and caned glory, the Kingpin is here.
The Kingpin is here,
He has arrived.
and I'm scared.
He is a big deal. Hawkeye is scared of him,
Yeah.
which I think is a testament to how big Kingpin is going to be. If he is scared of Kingpin, and he fought aliens, he fought against Thanos.
He says it in the show. I thought Thanos.
Like this man.
Yeah.
So here we are in the midst of Kingpin coming back, and we get it in this text message and the ending of the okay. So the credits roll on Hawkeye, and it's in its animated style that we've seen, like in the intro and all the other credits.
Right.
You see Vincent D'Onofrio is getting credited for it,
Yep.
and then finally we get his silhouette
His silhouette over Hawkeye.
over New York.
Yeah, over New York. Yeah, really.
You see Kate Bishop and Hawkeye in the silhouette, and then you see the city. And the only thing that is bigger than any of it is Kingpin. Kingpin is the city.
Right. Because in every aspect of the word, he is the big man of
He is
everything.
the man in charge.
Yes.
He is the one thing that can scare an Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
He is the only... There's street level, too. We are not talking about a world ender. We're talking about a man who can go in and out of everything and destroy you from the inside out.
For a man as big as he is, he'll do it
strong.
He'll do it before you know it.
He is one of the strongest characters without superpowers.
Oh yeah.
He, even in the comics, he has his very own special safe that only he can open because of how heavy it is.
Right.
And he knows if someone else opens it, he knows who to start searching with.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of scared that he's not going to be as big as I want him to be.
Probably not for just,
Right.
You make him so big, people are going to be like, what is that?
Right. Exactly. But what's the actor's name?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio. Like he's 6'4".
yeah,
And
Right.
for compared to most of the actors in the MCU, that not a lot of them, except for Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, not a lot of them break that 6 foot.
Yeah,
Mark.
a lot of them
Yeah.
are fairly small.
So he'll appear large. That's kind of like in the Spider-Man PS4 game. Kingpin looks like a giant, but he's only 6'7" in that game.
Right.
which does not make sense.
And that's only because Spider-Man and everyone else in that game is 5'10" max. So
It works out.
Did anyone ever did no one ever grow? Are we all still in Napoleon age with the freaking?
Oh, they're all
Yeah,
how everyone in a few years ago,
was
in the past century, we've grown taller.
Yeah.
There's always been really tall people, like Lincoln,
Yeah.
but there's always people who were usually very short.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's the answer. That's why Kingpin's so big. It's about all the
In
growth
that-
hormones he
In
drinks
that
in
universe,
milk.
there's just no growth hormone, except for Kingpin. He's just a walking.
Well,
growth
the
hormone.
secret how I got so tall.
milk.
Apparently, the only thing I drank as a child was skim milk.
Skim milk.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, that's what I've been told by my mom.
It works. It all comes together, baby.
Baby,
Baby!
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby!
Tall critical.
Tall critical.
So do we? So yes, Wilson Fisk has been confirmed,
Yeah,
and it's
100%
from like,
confirmed.
and he's he's Kingpin from the original, not the original, the Deadpool show. I'm not Deadpool. Deadpool. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, it's
Daredevil.
He is continuing his reign, and he said that on Twitter. But like, supposedly he said that on Twitter that he was back, and I didn't believe it because it's like, oh yeah, like that's a real tweet.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go bother to check his Twitter because why would I do that? I'm just gonna assume it's fake. Because I thought Paul Rudd said something on Twitter. He didn't even have a Twitter at the time. I still don't think he even has Twitter. Can't say that for a fact.
He's the sexiest man alive. Why would he need it?
He doesn't need a Twitter.
Exactly.
He just needs to snap his fingers, and all
That's
the ladies
why
will
he's the sexiest
show up
man
to his
alive.
doorstep.
Right.
He has skipped out on the Twitter. He has the restraint that no other man can have, besides the
No other
Amish.
men can have. Besides the Amish.
Every Amish man's a sexy monster. That's the true answer.
So, do we want to move on to the Spider-Man talk now? We're about 11
I think
minutes
so
in.
because there's not much to say about Hawkeye because he's been Kingpin's been hinted at, and he's a major part of Echo's backstory. So it
Right.
only makes sense that he's here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's much more to
I
say
think
to
it's
that.
cool that it's the same Kingpin.
Yeah, the same actor.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, because he did a good job.
Oh, he did perfect.
Right.
He
back in Daredevil.
He takes the character and he got it perfect
Yeah.
right out of Frank Miller's run on
Mm-hmm.
the comics.
So let's move into Spider-Man. A lot of things happened. Let's
Yes.
start. So like we pick up right where Far From Home left off.
Right after.
So like you could start Far From Home and you could watch it all the way through, and then you could literally just continue this is all one big, like you can make it
Yeah.
one big movie.
There's one time jump
Where?
at the beginning because there's a little bit of time passes between when the world finds his identity and when we get to what looks to be Halloween.
Okay.
You see that it's not exactly clear, but it looks very much like a little bit of time has passed. A few, maybe almost a month at
Yeah,
most.
because we were in summer in Far From Home. Like that was his summer. Like he was on a summer
Yeah.
trip
Yeah.
Right.
with school.
And then
Okay.
he started his senior year, and then
Okay.
That's where it all fits together and ties back in. So that way it's all a little bit of a time jump, and he's still having this horrible time that the world knows who he is.
Right. He a funny line that he said was like, "I'm the most famous person in the world, and I'm still poor."
Yeah. Like overnight. Not even night.
Over 5 minutes.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
He became the most popular man in the world.
Literally.
The
Like,
most important spider, the most popular man, and instantly was enemy number one.
he became #1 on trending on Twitter in like 5 seconds.
School changed. Grown men wanted to be him.
yeah.
Think about that. Like his teachers were gagaing over him.
Yeah, and Hannibal Buress was just there, and he's what?
And like Flash, I'm kind of mad that like Flash, like they didn't like make him more of a kiss ass than he ended up being.
Yeah, I almost
Peter?
I kind of wish that he was a little in it more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they summarized that with a perfect line. If you were Peter's actual friend, maybe you'd be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's actually a really good line because for the rest of the movie, after that line, you don't really see him.
Ever. Like
Yeah.
you see him one time when he asked him where the thing was.
Yeah, I feel like that's not really that's not a spoiler.
No.
I'll say that. So they're all applying to college at this time. They're all trying to get into MIT.
And they're waiting, like they can't get into MIT because it's the last letter they all got.
Yeah, it's the last letter that they each individually got.
I think they applied to some like 3 schools or something. 4
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah, like 3-4 schools. They all had
Or that's
their
all we
backups.
saw.
Right.
MIT was their
even
all of
even
their
for
first
only
choice,
Peter
though.
is the one that we saw at that point.
Right, exactly. So the other we can't really say how many colleges they applied to.
Right. And they all show up to MJ's workplace, which is some donut shop on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And they all come in with their letters. Peter comes in, she's holding hers, and then Ned comes in with his, and they all open them at the same time. And they all find out they didn't make it in
because they knew
because they were all accomplices to Spider-Man.
Right.
Spider-Man didn't get in because,
He's
Spider-Man.
He's Spider-Man, and like there's the controversy. It's like this was like a really like modern day movie. It felt like
Yeah,
for
I
me.
feel like that was handled really well in comparison to like
yeah.
the other John Watts movies.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was very well done on that part.
Yeah,
But
like-
he goes to try and talk to.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he goes to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is what we see in the trailers. spell goes wrong.
Spell go poo poo.
Spell goes poo-poo.
Spider-Man then goes to talk to an MIT consultant. That's the woman we see in the car that he's trying to save.
Yep. On the
A lot of
on
people
the
are like,
bridge.
"Oh, she's photoshopped. It has to be someone else." And it's like, no, she's
No, it's literally that
that's
woman.
actually who that is.
It's MIT vice president of something.
Yeah, vice president, vice chair of like.
missions, I think.
Was
That's
it
what
admissions?
it was. It was admissions,
Okay.
and that's when it starts to break out. That's when you get
That's when Doc
Doc
Ock's
Ock-
arms come waving out of
Yep.
from underneath the bridge.
and then you get Green Goblin's entrance,
Mm-hmm.
and then so on. The movie
The
takes
movie
off
goes
from
on.
there. If you go on beyond that, it really does.
It
start to
really
break.
everything starts
because
to get spoilery.
it really starts to get really into depth of everything we've seen from the past 20 years.
I honestly think that little talk that we just had, we basically just recapped all the trailers.
Literally, yeah. All the trailers were essentially from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
For good reason.
And
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they only showed the press like the first 40 minutes.
40 minutes
That
of the
was
movie.
literally the first 40 minutes
Yeah.
of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was genius on their part for doing that.
Of course.
Just like in-game. And I'm going to say it right now, as a review for the movie, if you're turning away from spoilers, at this point when this goes up, you probably already know.
Bigger movie, like
Bigger movie. I don't know if it's technically like bigger than in-game budget-wise or how much money it'll eventually make because pandemic and such.
right,
But this movie felt bigger.
Mm-hmm.
In my gut, in my heart, my fat child heart that's grown up watching these Marvel movies my whole life, these superhero movies my whole life. This immediately shot up to being one of my favorite superhero movies ever
Mm-hmm.
of all time.
Me too. I think this is like top 3 favorite superhero movies ever, if not number 1 for me personally.
It rectified so many feelings I've had for so long and it changed my feelings on some things.
Mm-hmm.
I am willing to admit that it changed how I felt about some things. And that takes a lot to admit over something that I've been very passionate about for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
We can explain that a little bit more in depth here in a minute. But, like, if you haven't seen it yet at this point, please go see this movie.
Stop watching the podcast, listening to it, whatever you're
Pause
doing.
your YouTube
Buy
video.
a ticket and go see it.
Go
buy
to
a
your local
ticket.
movie theater. Go support local. Hopefully. There's a lot of local movie theaters. There's one really great one, Screenland Armor.
Yep.
Go see it there. Go see it at your local B&B. If you need to, go to AMC. Go to cinema.
That's where we went.
Yeah, we went to AMC to go see it on a Dolby screen.
And have comfortable seats.
I
thought they were comfortable. They're more comfortable than the normal seats there.
The widths were a little hard on me still, but I'm a wide man.
I think the
I'm-
normal seats are skinnier than those were.
They are, but
Yeah.
it still could just be just a little.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a different story.
Also, shout out to like Spider-Man in general, this movie, because I've never seen a movie theater this full
Yes,
ever
in a
since
year.
before COVID happened.
Since
Yeah.
Endgame, I have not seen a movie theater this packed.
And it kind of like warmed my heart a bit to know that people are going back to the theaters
For
things-
Spider-Man.
For Spider-Man.
For Spider-Man. They came out for Spider-Man.
And
He's
it
one of the biggest. He honestly like
He's one
Right
of the
now-
top 3 superheroes of all time.
right now in these day and age, he's probably the most popular superhero.
He's the one that sold the most toys ever.
Right. Until I don't know, like, cause like the top 3 most recognized is probably Superman, Batman, Spider-Man,
It has to be.
and I think Spider-Man after this movie, after everyone sees it, Spider-Man will hop to number 1, and then then the Batman will come out.
My God. We got to see a trailer for the Batman, the second trailer that came out during DC Fandom this past year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and seeing it on a Dolby screen with their speakers, their sound system, and seeing it that big.
Yeah. It hit you.
I cried again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Batman is very important to me.
I know.
As he should be.
That trailer is a lot. I have high expectations for this movie, and I hope they at least deliver to the middle of them.
Yeah.
At least. Because it looks good. It looks pretty. Like, it looks cinematically nice, this Batman movie.
My favorite
coming out.
moment from the trailer that we watched, got to see for the Batman, was when he's like, I got him, and then he just comes out of the fire. Like,
Yeah, the
you did
penguin,
not,
and he's just like,
you did not get
I
me.
got him!
Denied.
Like,
then-
really, that sound effect denied.
The music starts pumping, and then Batman comes out of the fire, and then you see Penguin's face just change.
Just shades, like, this guy's unkillable. Because he is.
And that's where you get the scene from that first trailer, and he's just like, who is this guy?
Right. Oh man, I'm excited for that movie.
Batman.
But so should we go into spoilers now for?
I think
Spider-Man.
that's fair.
Yes.
Now explain
Okay, so
your whole thinking process,
hold on.
Connor.
So like in that first 40 minutes of the movie,
There's
the
a
press
huge-
scene, there's a humongous cameo that they kind of just throw
Brushed
in.
off.
They do. They just were
Like, hold on.
here's
There
this
is one thing
character.
I very much want to say.
Okay.
I'm surprised there was no reference to Stan Lee at all. Not
There
even
was
on a
no-
newspaper,
yeah,
not
no.
even in a wall mural. We saw nothing.
Mm-mm.
I'm surprised we didn't see some kind of painting.
That was weird. Yeah.
Now that you
'Cause
think about
see
that, I mean, now
Ditko-
that you say that,
you see Ditko spray painted like 3
Uh-huh.
times in the movie.
on the truck, on the top of the school. That's the only ones I remember,
Where was the third one? Maybe I just saw the truck again.
probably. Anyway, that's cool, but like, back to this cameo that was kind of
Yeah.
just brushed over.
This is Connor's time to shine. This
Uh,
is one of my favorite Marvel characters, but Connor, please take this away.
Okay.
And go.
So, he's talking. So Peter's talking to his lawyer.
Lawyer.
His lawyer is Matthew Murdoch,
The Daredevil. himself.
Daredevil from Charlie
And
Cox.
Charlie
Daredevil.
Cox. Yes.
The
And-
man in devil's
oh.
clothes.
You guys would have shit your pants if it was Ben Affleck.
I would have. I think I might have left.
You guys would have been like, oh.
If it was Ben Affleck, I'd have been like, oh, okay.
If it was Ben
I
Affleck,
think
I would have burned the theater down.
I think I would have got up, punched, like, put a hole in the wall and came back. Because there's there's more to this movie.
Yeah, but that got me thinking with Hawkeye and freaking Daredevil now in MCU.
Confirmed.
What
Confirmed.
in the MCU?
Yeah.
What if
Kevin Feige, you cheeky little man.
What if it makes sense? The last 5 years, Defenders happened.
It
And
makes
it makes sense.
What
The only thing that I like.
What if they freaking Tokyo drifted us?
Because they also, in the show, only say the incident.
Right.
They usually, and when it was created, they referring to 2012 with the Avengers
Mhm.
first movie. But when you say the incident, how much has happened since then?
Right.
You could say anything's the incident.
And
Especially something as traumatic as the snap.
right. And the only way I see a problem in this, because I like this theory, I want this theory to come true because that would make the most sense, and that's the way that they could throw all those characters into the MCU. The only problem that I would see is that they would have to explain why we never saw Hawkeye and Daredevil.
Easily explainable. He was in Japan.
Fair enough.
He took care of his business in New York, went to Japan to take care of the Yakuza.
There was 3 seasons of Daredevil, right?
Yes.
So that could while Hawkeye was there, that it could have been the first 2 years of the snap, and then Daredevil could have came in the last 3 years of the snap,
I'll take it.
or vice versa.
One way or another. I'm willing to accept most cases.
Daredevil's in the MCU now.
Yeah. Matthew Murdoch
Is
in the
a,
MCU.
uh,
We have Kingpin and Daredevil
And he
in
caught
the
a-
MCU.
Yeah, can we talk about his cameo? How he out Spidey sensed Spider-Man?
Yeah. Dude, okay. So they're in May's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
People are outside the apartment. You're like, Spider-Man's a menace. He killed Mysterio. Mysterio was right. And you see a brick come flying through the window. Spider-Man senses it and
And
turns
his hands
and he goes
up.
to catch it. Matthew Murdoch catches it before him.
snags it in front of him. Right,
That wasn't. I don't know if you could hear me snap
like that.
Like, that fast, instantaneous.
I was
and
Caught it
I
before
was
Peter Parker.
floored.
I was it was the funniest thing though. They're like, "How did you do that?" He just goes,
I'm a really good lawyer.
"I'm a really good lawyer." That's just perfect. That's so funny.
I love Charlie Cox.
What
it's-
would have made it better is if Foggy was there.
That would have been nice.
I mean,
to see Foggy.
Foggy was technically there.
He would have had to have been.
Well, John Favreau was Foggy in the Ben
Oh
Affleck,
yeah, that's true.
I was making a joke.
That was my first thought when they had the picture of John Favreau with the long hair
Yeah.
on the TV screen.
Oh yeah.
He didn't even have long hair in that movie, but the two things being put together is that really reminds
And
me
John
of-
and Happy's words though, at least they used a good photo.
At least they used a good photo.
It was not a good photo,
No, it
ladies and
wasn't.
gentlemen.
It was horrible.
It was not a good photo.
It was really bad.
It was like when it was Happy when him and Tony met the Mandarin for the first time back in the
Quote, unquote
90s.
Mandarin, yeah.
the what's his name? Aldrich Killian. Like the long hair and the ear.
Yeah,
pierced ear.
he had. Yeah, man, that's a weird look. I don't like it. I don't like
Not
that.
not for Jon Favreau.
No,
I
it's
like
not
the
for
I like
him.
the fro better.
Yeah, it's much better, much more palatable.
Yes.
Alright, so are we ready?
No. What else should we talk about? We see Green Goblin, and he's still like we see these villains struggling with
They're all
their struggles.
bugging out.
Right, but we see them struggling with the same struggles they had, obviously, back when we were watching the movies, when we saw them for the first time.
They are all Raimi-esque characters.
Yes.
They all come from very real struggles, all real strife,
Like,
and they just want to be better,
Green
and
Goblin
they're just going about it in the way that they see fit as a character.
Green Goblin and Norman Osborn are still fighting for control.
Yes, very Dr.
Still.
Jekyll and Mr. Hyde still. Because I guess we shouldn't say still, because they all get swept up right before death.
Do you think that Green Goblin was playing them, or do you think that Norman was actually conscious for a little short bit?
Yes.
Do you think Goblin let Norman out?
I think Goblin did that on purpose.
Like, let Norman out?
I think so. Because when he's talking to May, it seems very genuine. But you see him start to build
Right.
more and more until they get back to...
Happy's
I forgot to
apart-
mention that. In Happy Hogan's apartment, he's back. He lived. He didn't die in Iron Man 3. Dummy.
Dummy the arm.
The robotic arm that helped Iron Man in the first two movies. He isn't dead.
He isn't.
Good for him.
He's probably dead now.
Yeah, he's dead now.
But he
Yeah.
wasn't. He wasn't.
Electro murdered him.
Damn Electro. Well, technically Goblin did, didn't he? Or did...
They kind of... Yeah.
So...
You're just like, go on.
We
use
need to
your
explain the
powers.
part where, like, Spider-Man was trying to help
Yes.
these villains.
Tom Holland's first idea was to help the
He,
villains.
he was trying to rehabilitate.
Right, because the first thing the villains all come to realize is that if they go back to their world, they're dead.
They're going to die.
That was like the
They
first
will die.
realization that all the villains came to together as they're sitting there in prison.
Except for Sandman.
Except for Sandman, because he just wants to go see his daughter like
Yeah,
always.
he's the only one that would live.
Right. Well, the first time we see Sandman, he like in the previews, everyone's like Sandman's like looks like it's blocking Electro's blast. He was.
He really was.
He was protecting Peter.
I think I really remember it was like, that's total crap. Sandman's not
I
in the movie.
remember
And then
you-
Sandman was in the movie, and I was like,
You're
Huh.
like Sandman's not in the movie.
There's no
That's
way.
just the explosion.
it just had to be an explosion. No. Sandman turned out to be in the second trailer.
Yep.
And then
He turns out to be
movie
in the
comes
movie.
out. He's actually saving Spider-Man. It's like,
Yeah, so like I think that he was brought like when I think I said this on the podcast or while we were just in back here talking, like as he's flying away in Spider-Man 3, he just gets sucked into a hole.
yeah, he's
Like-
just like brushes into the wind. They're all standing there in the morning light basking. They save the day. Then
He just gets sucked into a hole because he's nice.
Like
Like,
a
at first
yeah.
he's nice to Peter. He kind of gets a little mad at him. For like he kind of just jumps to conclusion.
Yeah, he's just like, what did you do to Electro? Because Peter has this special web that teleports
That,
villains back to the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Doctor Strange made for him. Turned his Iron Spider suit into that.
Yeah, he turned a little bit of what was left of the Iron Spider suit because Doc Ock actually takes some of it.
And they're on his arms for the majority of the movie.
Yeah,
And
that actually gives Peter control of his arms.
yeah, like Peter has Doc Ock's arms on Bluetooth for
And
the
it's-
majority of the movie.
And it keeps him subdued.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, and I think that honestly was probably perfect because I feel like Doc Ock was the only one that probably could have,
Gotten out.
murdered all of them.
Oh yeah, I
'Cause
think
Green
so.
Goblin, like, they took care of that themselves.
Yeah.
Doc Ock, the only reason he got caught was because of his own. He didn't know that technology would do that.
His technology
He
wasn't
stuck
there
in
when he died.
2002.
Yeah,
Or 2004?
2004. It was 2004, and
Yeah.
then 2007 was Sandman.
There we go. So he's still stuck in 2004. So he's probably sitting there. It's like, what in the name
Well,
of
and
God?
then like Green Goblin comes out of the smoke, and Doc Ock goes, Norman,
Yeah, Doc Ock's like,
and like Norman and Dr. Octavius know each other,
Right, because they both worked at Oscorp
Yeah.
at one
Right.
point.
and like they
Well, yeah, obviously Norman Osborn.
Right.
Right, but yeah.
but like they knew each other, and then so did Jamie. Well, Jamie Jamie Foxx Electro knew Kurt Connors, but Kurt Connors didn't know who Electro was. I don't think. Well, yeah, he did. He said you used to work at in my lab. You were the last time I saw you. You had a comb over and gapped teeth or something like that.
Because they also both worked at Oscorp. I feel like the real conclusion that they all should have came up with was like, wait a minute.
We all worked at Oscorp.
You say your name was Norman Osborn?
Right.
Hey, wait a minute.
Because in Andrew's universe, Norman Osborn never got the chance to become Green Goblin.
Yeah,
he died
had,
too
like
soon.
some kind of regenerative disease that made him look like a goblin.
That he was trying to heal himself from, and then he gave that to Harry, but for some reason Harry was experiencing it like way faster, just all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Where was Harry in this
plot
movie?
convenience?
Did you notice how they were intentionally avoiding his name?
I noticed that.
Even Norman Osborn said, "My son." He didn't say Harry. Like he said, "My son is gone," because like he was realizing that like there was no Harry Osborn. There's no Oscorp in Tom's universe.
Right.
Yet.
There
might be one. That just not in New York. Might be in L.A. West Coast Avengers. But so is it time? Because we're kind of in that point of the movie.
I think it is.
Because I don't think we can go on without.
I actually do want to say one thing because this is about the point in the movie that it happened. So I'm sitting there in my seat, right? And I dropped a piece of popcorn on the armrest.
Oh yeah,
Wyatt. I go to move my cup.
I thought Wyatt was gonna ruin this movie by
dying.
Because I was like, we're gonna have to leave this movie halfway through.
I probably would have just called someone up to pick me up and left you guys there.
We're gonna have to go to the hospital.
We have to go to the hospital, and we're not gonna see everything, but we saw everything.
We did.
And
I was actually worried that I might have to leave, and I was like, I am not.
I'm gonna tough this out.
Are you feeling better, by the way?
That's what I was about to get to.
Oh,
my stomach.
If
you hear me making noises, my stomach is bothering me horribly.
We haven't even talked about a really like important part of the movie. Tom and Spider-Man. I keep saying Tom. So Spider-Man and Doctor Strange have a massive fight,
Dude.
and Spider-Man wins through math, not magic.
Through math,
like
using geometry.
So that box that we see in the trailers. That spell that they botched at the beginning of the movie, I think it looked to me like, well, he contained the spell, but it looked like in a small mirror dimension. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he condensed it into
like a little ball. And that box, he put that box that we see them fighting for in the trailers is some artifact, and that little sphere in there is the spell that we see get botched. And that box is apparently going to send everyone back to their own reality.
Yeah, which would have sent the other villains to die.
Right, and that's why they're fighting, because Tom doesn't want to send them to their death, because Aunt May was like, that's not the right thing to do. And he's like, oh, right, you're probably right. That's probably not the best thing to do, is just send these people to their death.
Yeah, like what is my job if I just send them to die?
Right. And then they fight over this box, and Spider-Man wins.
Yeah, through math.
Because long story short, Doctor Strange traps them both in the mirror dimension, and Tom's like, he said, I forget what shape he was talking about, but he's like, hey, the mirror dimension is just the shape. Let's, geometry, Peter. Let's do this. And he's basically webs up, like just shoots webs everywhere, and then traps
Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange just sits there over the Grand Canyon
for a long time. And then Peter breaks them all out of jail, and that's when he starts trying to cure them, fix them. Yeah, he breaks them out of jail, and then they go to Hogan's apartment.
Yes, that's where. And then so I think we're caught up to the point.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ned.
I didn't actually say what happened to me.
You ate a peanut. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I didn't say that part though.
Yes, you did. You said.
Did I say that?
I think so.
There was somehow a peanut in the cup holder. I went to go eat a piece of popcorn. I dropped in the cup holder, and I ate like a soggy peanut.
Wyatt's allergic, peanut intolerant.
Yeah, because I don't need an EpiPen, and I don't often need to go to the hospital or anything.
Right.
But this time it was like, I don't actually know what I ate. What did I put in my mouth? What is going to happen? Even now, I don't know what happened. I just know I had an allergic reaction. My stomach feels still gross.
Ugh.
It's bad.
Well, and so at the end of the fight,
if I'm still alive by next episode, everything's okay.
At the end of this Doctor Strange
hit the
fight,
like button for me to live.
Let me speak. At the end of the Doctor Strange fight, Peter takes the box and the sling ring, Doctor Strange sling ring from him.
You're listening to a ghost.
You're going out there to find a ghost.
Norman Osborn died. You're
And then Clint
swing
Marco-
out into the dark to fight
Flint-
a ghost.
Flint Marco goes like, "You're both dead." It was all over the news. Like, he just drops that
You
bomb
drowned,
on them
You drowned in the river. He got stabbed.
by the glider he flies around on. So long story short, Ned ends up with Doctor Strange's sling ring
Yeah, Peter stole the sling ring
from Doctor Strange at the end of the fight.
handed it over to Ned.
Well, he gave the box to MJ to hold on to, and he gave Ned the sling ring.
And Ned,
Becomes a wizard. No,
he's natural.
But he is a natural. Like, even Doctor Strange was like, "Did you make that portal?" At the end of the movie,
Yeah.
He's like, "Did you make that portal?" And he's like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, and then just walks away from him.
He did a great job of being a little wizard trooper there, dude.
But
Yeah.
seriously.
we gotta get a serious point before we get to the big thing. Someone died.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that.
Before we have
This was before
this
this
is part of the emotional
Yeah.
climax of the movie. You have a big sad before a big glad,
Yes.
and the movie does a good job of saying that.
Do you want to talk
Because
about it?
Doctor Strange, right off the bat, earlier in the movie, is like, "How about the bad news first?"
Yeah.
He said that, right? I think he
I
did.
don't know.
Yeah, because he was standing at the top of the stairs.
Well,
Did he say? He said Scooby Doo this shit,
Yeah,
not crap.
that was funny.
but
Please Scooby Doo this shit.
Connor, take it away.
Talk about the big sad.
So Norman gets
Goes crazy again.
goes crazy again, and it ends with it's a really good fight scene between.
Oh,
Peter.
dude, like
That was some.
They freaking were throwing.
They
each other
highlight
through
the fact that Green
building.
Goblin
is super strong.
he has a super soldier serum.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
They highlight that.
Yeah, but
And that dude, like, that was crazy. I was kind of like, man, they're kind of just putting Toby's fight scenes with Goblin to shame right here, because like in those movies, they really don't convey it like actually how strong Goblin is.
Right, or how strong
Spider-Man
can
is.
really be.
Yeah. Well, because like Spider-Man can't punch someone as hard as he can; he'll kill him.
Right.
But not Goblin. But like a regular person, they
I was
die.
gonna say, I think he could kill Goblin with one punch.
Oh,
but
probably.
he doesn't.
Right.
He
exactly.
he lets just a little bit more loose. But yeah, Connor, go back to
and in the end, Aunt May dies.
yes. We have this fight scene. Floors are caving in on each other.
I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, Gary went to the
bathroom. I saw-
Like the dumbass he is.
I
he went
saw-
To the bathroom.
He didn't know that was going to happen.
You could tell.
The fight was over when I went to the bathroom.
It's true.
The fight was over. I didn't know there was another bomb there.
Yeah, but yeah, I was a trooper. I didn't pee until the end of the movie. Hell, I didn't pee until I got here. I was a trooper. I waited.
I was gonna
Anyway,
say, I needed to get up and go check my.
stuff. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You have an excuse. This man did not.
Sometimes nature finds a way, and it's better to go in the bathroom than in the seat.
That's fair. Anyway,
Why'd you get kicked out of the movie theater? Well, I peed in the seat.
all right. So.
She
says the line. She says, "With great power comes great responsibility."
We finally get it
We finally get it.
in the MCU.
in the MCU. Took a while.
So I was talking to Wyatt. No, never mind. I'll talk about this later. Okay, keep going.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that later.
And then the big glad happens.
Yes,
The big
we're
So we're
in
back in
Ned's
Ned's
grandma's
house.
house in their dining room.
Him and MJ are there,
And
and they're
get
talking, and Ned kind of is like, "Oh, I wish we can see Peter," and waves his hands, and we see sparks.
Yeah, he opens up the sling ring portal. He says, "I wish we could see Peter."
And then she's like, "Ned, do that again," and he does it again. They're like, oh
Because,
God,
Yeah, like a little bit of a
a little bit of the
does a
shows
little.
up.
Woo!
And then they're like, do it again. And then he does it.
He opens a portal.
He opens a portal, and a dude in an alley is standing there.
Yeah, you see Peter.
And then he turns around, and we see
We see eyes.
we see some eyes
And then he comes walking towards, running towards the portal.
Be cool because they're like, Peter, and he's kind of like, me, yeah, me. I'm Peter. I'm Peter.
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's me. And he comes running, and as he gets closer, we're like, What's happening? He
And
gets
then he
closer,
comes right through the portal
and then he's there
Andrew Garfield.
in his good suit.
in Spider-Man 2 suit, Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit.
Thank God.
Well,
That was his most recent suit.
I think it's a better design.
Oh, I do too.
I like the eyes more. It's very McFarlane.
oh my! And I just remember, I was like,
I mean, like, I couldn't contain myself. I was having spasmodic convulsions in my whole body.
Because it's like, holy crap.
It's real.
He's
They're-
here.
they're it's
He's
real.
actually here.
The rumors are real. Everything that's happening was real. Oh my god! I
Here
still,
he is.
honestly, we're sitting back here talking about. I still don't believe it,
Right. We
Yeah.
we watched it happen
and I don't believe it still.
in live action.
We were there. We were there. What guys?
yeah,
And then they have this really funny interaction with Andrew Garfield about like how they prove like MJ's like prove it.
Prove your Peter. Prove your Spider-Man.
And then she throws a piece of bread at him, and
He's like,
she was like, "I was testing to see if you had the tingle." He's like, "I do, but not for that."
Oh, we forgot to mention that.
not
so
for bread.
during the Doctor Strange fight at the exact beginning of that scene, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange knocks his spirit out of his body.
Oh yeah,
And you see it. You see the spider sense in the spectral plane.
yeah, and
And it's the lines
yes,
from the comic. It's
Uh-huh.
the lines.
the line. Did you not notice that?
I did not.
Yeah, it's the comic accurate. Like Wyatt's like, I'm like, dude, comic accurate spider sense. What the? We're seeing it.
And one of the I thought it was really funny because it's in his body. It's just like his nervous system
Right.
doing it.
And,
Doctor
like-
Strange trying to grab the box from Spider-Man's
And
body.
he could and like
the spider sense keeps moving the box.
it's honestly like this relationship that they had just then kind of reminded me of Doctor Strange in the Cape, but like it's Peter in his spider sense.
right.
Like it's kind of like he can depend on it. Just it's like an external
He can-
thing,
It's just
Yeah.
its own thing.
right? But anyway, back to like the big happy.
Yeah, the big glad.
Andrew kind of just hops up and just sticks to the ceiling.
He just puts one hand on the ceiling.
and they're like, she's like, crawl around. And he's like,
No.
no. She's like, this isn't enough. He's like, it's enough. Just stop. And then Ned's grandma asks if he could get a cobweb in the corner.
And he's just like, "Oh yeah, sure."
Oh yeah. He's like,
Holds
yeah.
holds the mask in his
In his
mouth,
mouth.
crawls over across the ceiling.
All I've got to say, Andrew Garfield, if you're listening to this somehow, you're a cheeky bastard. Okay,
God,
you're a cheeky goddamn bastard.
God bless you. I've been too harsh on you.
I've always liked you, and Wyatt has always scolded me for it.
I've liked him.
Because I thought, he's a Spider-Man fan, but these movies aren't that good.
No,
And it wasn't his fault.
No,
Yeah.
but
Well,
you didn't think that.
I never believed that it was entirely his fault. I believe that he was a symptom of a problem further up, that they just hired some dude that likes Spider-Man. No, it turns out he was actually, this movie changed my entire opinion of him.
And then they were like, let's just keep doing the
Or him as Spider-Man.
right. And then so Ned and MJ are like, let's just keep asking the sling ring to show us
let's see if we-
Peter's until we get to the right one.
Yeah, he says, I want Peter Parker.
He's like, show me Peter Parker, show me Peter Parker, or like bring me to Peter Parker or something like that. And then we see this dude step into the house, and guess who it is?
It's the man himself.
It's Spider-Man.
My
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
showed up.
The voice I have always heard.
Toby Maguire.
Walks
Steps out
in.
of the portal.
He's like, hey, mind if I come in? I don't know. This portal just showed up.
Oh, it's gone.
True Toby Spider-Man fashion. Like, just like, hey, oh, sorry, that I just walked through there and now it's gone. Like, that's just Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to me.
It was wonderful.
like, and then him and Andrew like kind of have like this little fight in quotation marks.
Yeah, they like look at each other and
they're
have a
like,
moment.
wait, and then they like start doing flips and shooting webs at each other. I'm getting giddy just talking about it because
Yeah.
it's like it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was great.
And then like they do that little web exchange, and then Ned's like, my grandma asked if you can clean up the webs that you just shot at each other, and they're like, oh yeah, for sure, like true Peter fashion, like,
Yeah.
oh of course, we're so sorry, like
Yeah, they gladly clean it up.
they clean it up, and then they're like, we need to find our Peter, but they don't do the sling ring thing again. They just go find him
Yeah.
because Toby was like, does he have a place that he goes to think? And then
Yeah.
they
He's like,
exchange
mine
their
was the
place.
Chrysler Building.
Yeah, and
mine
then-
was the Empire State Building.
Right. And he's like, it's better view. And he's like, Toby's like, it is quite a view. Which that just warms my heart thinking about. Like, I'm just getting giddy talking about this because I
It's
can't
like,
believe that
I
I'm
could
talking
just
about
hear
this.
Tobey Maguire's voice in my head, and he's like, they love me.
Right.
They really love me.
Right. It's oh my god. So they go find Spider-Man, and we kind of have this Batman moment where like the moon's behind them, and they're standing like they're on top of the building because MJ and Ned, and I like this interaction between them because MJ and Ned don't even say anything. They just walk up to him and hug him.
Right. They know that.
They know that Aunt May died. Like they know that he is hurting right now, and they don't even say anything. They just hug him, and I really like that interaction between those group of friends. Hopefully we'll get it again. But then MJ's like, there's some people here to see you. And Peter kind of gets up because he's like, he's probably thinking it's another villain.
Yeah, no, he gets up and he's ready to go.
He's like, he's ready to fight
He's going to murder someone.
Yeah. And then we see Toby and Andrew.
Their silhouettes against the moon.
Yes. And they hop down.
And he's just like, no.
Yeah, like Tom, I was like getting mad at Tom. I was like, bro, you show them respect, okay?
He's like, no, go home.
Yeah, he's like, go home. I don't need you here. I hate you. I'm like, oh, how dare you talk to them like that? But, oh man, I'm getting giddy just talking about this stuff, man. Like it's truly, and then like we actually hear Uncle Ben's name.
Yeah,
with this
Andrew and
Toby bond over Uncle Ben, and for me, this seemed like that, like because now I'm starting to think that Tom Holland's Spider-Man just doesn't have an Uncle Ben, and I was telling Wyatt this on the car ride at home from the movie theater that I'm starting to think that May Parker was his dad's sister rather than Uncle Ben being his brother, and then that she just doesn't have him.
And in What If is just different.
Yeah, and like What If's is just a different Tom.
Okay.
And like why? And I was like, that means there's probably different versions of Andrew and different versions of Toby out there as well.
I mean, multiverse.
Right.
That is very true.
So we're thinking. I'm thinking that May is just his actual aunt, like not married into the family, like she's just literally
his aunt.
And that would mean, to me, I mean, like May has always had the best relationship with Peter, obviously, but like to me that just makes it seem closer somehow. But I don't know. That could just be me, but
it feels tighter.
Right. But
it would make sense.
It would make sense because that like she would probably be hurt more than she was when his parents died or something happened to his parents as well. But what was I talking about? So like, and they were talking about like how Tom goes, "Don't tell me you know what I'm going through because you don't." And I'm like, these two guys literally are probably some of the only two guys you'll ever meet who do know what you're going through. And we got a nice like, they were like, "I lost her and it was my fault." And Toby goes, "I lost my Uncle Ben and it was my fault and I chased down the guy who I thought did it and killed him," or something like that. He didn't say that, but like he said something like that. And then Andrew goes, "I lost my Gwen, who was my she was my MJ." Or I lost Gwen and she was my MJ, or something like that.
Yeah, it was my fault.
And it was my fault. Like they were like, and that's how like I think that's how Tom Spider-Man like kind of started to trust him. It's because he was like, "Oh man, these guys have gone through some
They
shit."
really have. They're like me.
They're like me, and I say they've probably gone through more than you because they're a little older than you.
Did Andrew say that he
like
started
he killed
killing
him.
people?
Well, he said I stopped pulling my punches, and I became grumpy or
bitter.
Yeah, bitter and
But
angry.
But does that mean he kills people? Because if you stop pulling his punches, you're gonna kill people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he fully pulling them? Because he's murdered people.
Right.
He's obliterating. He's one punching.
And I'm kind of starting to think like what he was talking about was like right after he lost Gwen, and like
yeah. By the way, he was talking about it, but I think the point still stands. He'd be killing people.
Right. And like I'm from the way it sounds like, but it doesn't make sense because of the movie. But they might have just changed it. But like the way he was talking about it made it sound like before he fought Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was in between his loss of Gwen and fighting Rhino in the last scene of that movie.
But he stopped being Spider-Man.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But like,
by the time of Rhino, he was like, I'm needed.
Right. I'm needed to be Spider-Man. I don't know. It's all confused. But like
after that, we get a lab scene.
We get
all
lab
the Spider-Men. They're all like, let's fix them.
Right.
We get to see all the Spider-Men being smart.
Because they are all
their
smart.
thing. Right. They're all incredibly intelligent.
They lay out all the cures for everyone, and they all like. Andrew goes, "I can take Connors because I've already cured him once before."
Yeah, I've already done it.
And Toby goes, I could probably make a cure for Goblin because I've had a long time to think about it.
Yeah, he's been thinking about this.
Like, because like he didn't want to kill Norman.
Right, and he didn't want anything bad to happen to Harry.
Either. Like, so like it makes sense that would be haunting him for like his whole career.
His life.
Right. And then Tom takes
Electro
and Sandman. And they all make their doohickeys and stuff.
Ned says, Peter.
And then they
Peter
all like
Parker.
look up.
And they do
The meme.
the pointing meme.
But the only thing that would have made it better if they were all in masks and their costumes. But I'm happy with what we got.
Yeah, I feel like with what we got, that's good enough.
They were like pointing at. They were doing the point thing. Like they were like me, him, like me or him, like him or him, like.
Freaking Andrew with his youth pastor joke about.
Yeah, he's like, are you just gonna go out there and fight looking like a cool youth pastor, or do you have your suit? And Toby kind of just looks at him and goes. And pulls his collar down and his suit's there.
It's under his clothes.
Like always. That's
what you do.
Yep. I love this movie. And then
God.
we get my favorite interaction between the three of them. Ned's like, "Here, I got some web cartridges for you."
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, Ned walks up to Tom and he's like, "I got some web cartridges for you." And Toby goes, "What's that for?" He's like, I just put them in here and it's what replenishes my webs."
And he shoots a chair.
And he just shoots a chair, and then him and
they just look at him.
Andrew are just like, what? How did that happen? And he kind of just goes
He's just like, you guys can't do that?
He's like, I don't know. Like, and then that's all we get for it until a little bit later in the movie when they're on the Statue of Liberty. Like, they don't really talk about it much there. They like go into it later. And then now we're on the Statue of Liberty, which is being refurbished.
Yeah, it's
to hold
being
a Captain America
adorned
shield.
with Captain Shield.
And also, it's being refurbished, so it has its original copper coloring.
Yeah, they've taken away all that.
The green oxidization.
Yeah.
Is that the right?
Oxidization.
Okay. And then we get, like, another favorite interaction between the three of them is, like, Andrew goes, I've always wanted brothers. This is so cool. Like, that was sweet to me.
Yeah, and that really kind of feels like a brother dynamic.
Right. He's like, this is so cool. I've always wanted brothers.
That's right. There was something that was... It brought a tear to my eye to see the two masks next to each other
sitting on the poles.
There was something about that in particular.
Yeah. The only thing that would have made it better if it was Tom's was there too.
Right.
Oh yeah, my back.
Yeah,
that was nice.
We had a my back reference. Toby goes, "Oh, there it goes again," and Andrew's like, "What?" And he's like, "My back, my back hurts," or something like that. He's like, "You want me to pop it for you?" He's like, "Oh, I got a mid back problem as well." Andrew says,
and he proceeds to crack it for him.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Man, that is better." Oh man, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but then we talk about. He's like, "So how does it work? Do you make it like in your body?
Web block?
Web block?" And he's like, I don't know if I'm comfortable talking about this. He's like, and Tom shouts because he's on top and the other two are lower in the structure, and he's like, "Well, we're just really interested in how this works because we can't do that, so we're naturally just interested."
Does it come out of anywhere else?
Yeah, Tom goes, "Does it only come out of your wrist or does it come out of anywhere else?" And Toby's like, "Yeah, only my wrists."
Just the wrists.
And then he's like, "Do you ever have web block? Because I have to like make my webs in like a lab, like, and it's really
tasking,
inconvenient."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, that does sound really inconvenient." And he's like, "But yeah, I did." Now that I was like, when you said that, like, this was like the most like real conversation ever.
They feel really genuine.
Yeah. He's like, "Well, now that you said that."
Men that have spider powers.
Right. He's like, "Oh my gosh, now that you said that, yeah, like I was having like this external crisis and I couldn't produce webs or something like that." This movie is so good. Please go watch it. Like, we're not doing it justice just talking about it.
I need to go watch all the other movies now. Want to do that after?
Maybe.
What was I going to say? Oh, and then Tom asks, "What are like the craziest villains you guys have fought?" And Toby goes, "Well, I think you've already seen some of them." And then Toby goes, "Well, I fought this slimy alien from space."
Yeah, this black goo alien from
space. And Tom goes, "I've also fought an alien in space."
I fought an alien.
I went to space and
I
fought
him.
aliens
too, here and
in space. And then
Andrew's just like,
he's like, "I want to fight it. I want to fight an
I
alien."
just fought a giant rhinoceros, dude.
He's like, I just fought a giant rhinoceros and a Russian guy in a rhino suit. And then Toby goes, I'm still on the fact that he went to space. And then Andrew goes, I'm so lame compared to you guys. I'm like, and then we get do you want to say it?
Toby
goes to
so
Andrew.
Nice, and he's like, say it.
You're amazing.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Just listen to me. You're amazing.
I want you to say it. You're amazing.
And he's like, thanks. I really needed to hear that. And then we get one of the best. Well, they get their ass kicked at first.
Yeah,
because
they're getting whooped.
We do get neither Andrew or Toby's worlds have the Avengers, and that's confirmed now.
Yeah, because Tom is just like,
he's like, I don't want to brag, but
I know how to work on a team. I don't want to brag, but I've been on the Avengers, and
Toby's like, that's so cool. What is that?
Who is the Avengers?
Andrew's like, is that a band?
You're in a band? That's awesome. I want to be in a band.
Right. Is that Rockstar Spider-Man reference or whatever his name is?
Sure, why not?
I'm just trying to make connections where they're not needed.
It's Spider-Man. It's all connected.
Right, exactly. But then they get their asses handed to them on a silver platter at first.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because two of them haven't worked on a team before, and they don't know which one is Peter 1 and Peter 2 and Peter 3. Which I wish that Toby was Peter 1. Toby ended up being Peter 2 and Andrew being Peter 3. I wish it was like 1, 2, 3.
I knew that was gonna happen because
right, it is Tom's movie.
Is the star of the movie.
Right, exactly. But I thought that's just a personal ick that I had with it. But then they figure their stuff out, and then we have some of the coolest web swinging
that was awesome
that has ever been seen ever in a movie, in a video game, in any pop culture.
Oh my god!
They swing together, they're swinging as a unit almost, which was just beautiful to see.
It's like watching fighter jets, but Spider-Man.
Yes.
Oh, I guess there's
also
a
moment where
they say to Spider-Man's.
Spider-Man's?
Yeah. He says Spider-Man's out.
There was a moment where they're swinging and Andrew and Toby shoot their webs, and Tom grabs the webs and pulls them past him, and that was just so
awesome.
Cool to see.
That was great.
That was the coolest part.
And it was really nice to see each of them do their trademark thing.
Right, which we saw Andrew do his slingshot thing.
Right, and it was wonderful. That's something I did like about those movies, was that slingshot motion you see him do.
Right, and then Toby is an old man, but he's still as agile as ever.
Spider-Man, baby.
He was so spry still, But he's only 40 something, right?
Technically.
He's really not that old.
I think he was born 70 something.
Yeah, so he's 40.
Yeah.
I think he's younger than my dad, and my dad's 45. And my dad was born in 76.
He might be 43. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I read it not too long ago.
Hold up. I got the Google.
But they start to cure the villains one by one, because that was a decision that they came to. Let's pick them off one by one.
Let's do it. Let's cure them.
And
so in reality, that kind of means that Tom got to finally.
He is 46 years old.
Really?
Wow.
So he was born in 76.
75.
75. Yes.
They all got the conclusions that they wanted.
Right.
Because
this was a redemption movie.
Andrew and Toby wanted to cure their people as well.
Right.
But they met their fate just as it is.
Because technically, none of them killed their villain.
Right. The villain usually killed himself.
Right. And Andrew never. And none of Andrew's villains died.
Yeah. Electro
went to prison, right? And then
he dissipated actually.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Because he gets sucked into the power. He's trying to juice himself up.
So then again, he kills him. That's killing.
He essentially dies.
Yeah, and then but Lizard never died.
Lizard never died. I remember very clearly.
He got carried off to prison.
Yeah.
I
think there was. I thought it. I might have just filled the gap in my head that he got the death sentence in New York of all places, and I thought that's really funny.
Huh. Well, and see when they find or when Ned finds Electro early on in the movie, he says you can take the electric out of the chair, but you can't take the chair out of the man, or something like that.
Oh, he was talking about him being the man in the chair.
Oh, okay.
You can take the man out of the chair, but you can never take the chair out of the man.
But he said some electric something.
I think he references Electro. It says something about you got the electric guy. I guess I was right.
Okay, then I just completely blanked. Sorry, listener.
I just heard chair out of the man, and I was like,
Anyway, going back way further in the movie than that was. They cure, and then Goblin shows up, and then wait, let's talk about Doc Ock's redemption.
Yeah, Doc Ock, they fixed
So
the
they
chip.
Tom and Norman actually fix Dr. Octavius's neural interface to make him not crazy.
And he goes to be not crazy.
Yeah, and he shows up at the end because Electro's zapping the shit out of Andrew.
Yeah.
Like just I don't know.
Electrocution.
Yeah, like electric chair, like dying. And then like Doc Ock shows up and he's like, "I got this. They're mine."
I'll destroy them myself.
And then he picks up the Electro cure and turns around and takes the arc reactor off Electro and places it on him. And
Yep. Zip, zap, zoop.
and Doc Ock's redeemed himself.
Doc Ock did it.
And then that leads to a really nice interaction in between Toby and Doc Ock.
I cried. That's probably where I cried the hardest.
Toby swings in and takes off his mask.
As soon as Doc Ock was
And Doc Ock says, "Peter, you're all grown up."
And I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, like that was crazy, man. And then
Waterworks immediately.
they cure Max, and Andrew goes talks to Max like, "Man, what do you like? You're good, man. Like, let's go live our lives."
Yeah, he's
basically.
like, I'm nothing. I have no power at all.
or
now."
he's like back to being a nobody or something like that.
Yeah, and then they have a nice little interaction.
Between because like Max was a good dude before he became like a
Right.
really nice, kind-hearted person. Like he just got dealt the wrong cards in life.
Right.
Which it was sad. That's how he became a villain. He just was fed up with the world.
One bad day.
Right. And then they cure Sandman. That's kind of just like I think they kind of blew over that.
Yeah, because I mean, he was the least
Like
villainy of all the villains.
Right.
Besides
they
Doc
cure
Ock,
Lizard.
who literally got cured first.
They cure Lizard, and that's when Doctor Strange comes back. Is
Yeah,
when Tom
that's-
cures
that's-
Lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of do a similar wasn't it like I swear like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like the lizard bites the canister with the gas in it.
Wait. The lizard dies. Connors is alive.
I guess that's true.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll
I'll
yeah, that
I'll
makes
keep
sense.
it,
Yeah, that works. That's a totally comic book reason. Thank
Yeah,
you, Connor.
Yeah. Big brain.
Yep.
There we go.
Big brain.
But
Big brain.
Tom cures Lizard because Lizard's about to bite his face off, and then he puts the canister in front of his mouth.
Yeah,
and he bites
MJ
it,
throws him the gas.
the gas, and then
saves
Lizard's
his
cured.
life.
And then the only person left on the list is Green Goblin, and he shows up and shit goes down.
Yeah,
And Doctor Strange is
he's
here.
bombing everything.
Doctor Strange is at the Statue of Liberty with everyone with the box because MJ had the box because that's how they drew the villains to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Was they drew him with the box because Tom's like I could have killed you guys, but I didn't.
Come and get it.
So come and get it. We didn't even talk about like Andrew saving MJ and like crying.
It's because we didn't get that far yet, technically.
No, that's
'Cause that
already
happen-
happened.
that
That's already
happened-
happened.
I
Hasn't
think
it?
that happens after Doctor
No,
Strange
it
shows
happens
up.
after.
Because
that
Doctor
happens
Strange goes up to the top of
Oh
the
yeah, because
Statue of Liberty.
Ned gets saved by the cape.
And then, okay.
This is right where we're at. Goblin.
Yeah.
So like Goblin.
We're on the right spot. Goblin comes back, and he's messing things up.
And I love his suit, like with the hood, like
It was wonderful. And it was just a hoodie.
yeah, it was just
Literally a hoodie.
like literally a hoodie got burned off of the rest of his suit.
And it looks awesome.
It looks great.
He made some modifications, added some bombs, some knives here and there,
I would really
as
wanted to hate those from Toby when the things zip down at him. Like in Spider-Man 3.
I really wish that he was like, God, I hate those.
God,
I never
hate
miss
these.
those.
I hate these. Like that would have been funny. And we didn't. Sadly, the worst part about this movie was that
Or
we
like
didn't
he dodged two of them and did the same thing as in the first movie. He's like, I still got it.
Well, the worst part about this movie is that we didn't get a. I'm gonna rub some dirt in your eye.
Oh my God, I so wish we got that. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
I'm not gonna be greedy, but like that would have made this movie.
A bully Parker moment.
We got several references to memes
Yeah.
throughout this movie. They did a good job of balancing that too.
But like if Toby took his mask off and went, I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
And it was like irreverent memes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Ones that are they have been a meme for forever.
Right.
And this isn't like in Black Panther when Shuri's just like, What are
What are
those?
those?
I
Yeah.
hated that as soon as I saw it. And it may be because I just didn't like that meme. But even at that time, it was outdated. But like Norman Osborn being like, well, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
That's always been a meme.
Mm-hmm.
So is Spider-Man pointing at himself. It's always been a meme. And we get a payoff.
Yeah. Right. So we get a healthy amount of memes in this movie. Not too much, not too little. right?
Yeah, it's a good amount of stuff that's lasting.
Oh, my favorite part is when like Ned goes up to Toby and Andrew,
Oh, like
And
did you guys have a best friend?
and then Toby's like,
We
Dude,
forgot
yeah,
about that.
Yeah.
he died in my arms while after he tried to kill me.
Yeah.
He
And
tried
then-
to kill me
and then
he
Andrew
So
died.
just
nonchalantly.
Then Andrew just looks at dude.
He's like, dude, and like, did he give him like a
He, like,
pat on the
patted him
back
on the
or a
back.
fist bump or something? But like Andrew didn't talk about his Harry.
To be
Harry
fair,
was named. I swear to God, Harry's name was avoided in this movie.
And I feel
Norman
like-
didn't say it. Peter, neither Peters that had Harry's said Harry. Talked about Harry,
I feel like there's a reason for that.
and I do too.
I feel like there's a few reasons for that, possible reasons, because they're wanting to introduce a Harry Osborn, maybe.
James Franco.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about James Franco, who's had the allegations of sexual assault and such recently. And you remember the other Goblin?
Yeah, he was
He
kind of
exists.
Sorry.
His existence makes me upset.
Yeah.
He's not a very good actor either.
Mm-mm.
I watched Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. My God, wow, that acting job, dude. Makes my confidence feel better about myself. But anyway, so yeah, we get that moment of Ned being like, "So did you guys have best friends?" Because earlier
This
he's
was
just like,
before
"Is
the
there
whole
other
fight
Neds?"
start. This was the whole.
Yeah, this is back.
This
in
was
the,
before-
back in the high school science lab.
Yeah, the lab scene. We just forgot about it.
And it was a good scene.
Oh yeah, it was a good scene.
It
I'm
made
glad
my
we
heart
kind of
happy.
reminded of us. Yeah,
And then Ned says, "I promise not to turn into
Yeah.
a supervillain and murder you."
Later, he's just-
that's like hardcore foreshadowing to me.
especially with what happens later.
Especially what happens later, and we'll come back to this. Let's skip back ahead. Where were we? We were talking about memes.
Goblin.
Goblin. So
we never
Goblin,
got through all the Goblin stuff
so-
to Andrew saving.
So Goblin
MJ.
swoops in and he gets a hold of the box that has the original spell that got botched in it, and then he throws it back at Doctor Strange, and no one realizes except for the three Peters that there's a Goblin bomb in the box, and they all go no, and then Tom goes,
yeah,
Steven!
it's almost like they all have the moment, like the sense at the same
Uh-huh.
time. They all turn and they're like, "No, Steven!"
Right, and then it explodes, and then that causes
Oh, speaking of first names, this is way earlier now. Did anybody else notice that Andrew Garfield referred to Ned's grandma as Lola?
no.
Nobody else noticed that? He was just like, "It's okay, Lola, I'll take care of it." And it's like, wait a minute. When did you get her name? Anyway, back to Goblin.
You're kind of hurting my brain with that now. Thinking about so Goblin shows up, he blows up, and this is when we get the scene of MJ falling,
Yeah.
and the whole people thinking that Tom wasn't the one reaching down for her, and the thing it was him,
Yeah,
but he
that
just gets swooped by Goblin.
Goblin catches Tom.
But then we do get what we want, and Andrew redeems himself,
and yeah.
and he catches MJ, and then he kind of like when they land. He kind of just looks at her for a second and starts to tear up.
He's like, "I did it.
He's like,
I saved her."
I saved Spider-Man's girlfriend. I saved Spider-Man's love.
I helped him not experience the same thing that I did.
Right. And
Which
that was
I
really
think
sweet.
if he didn't save her, Green Goblin would be dead.
Oh yeah.
100%.
100%.
Toby would have been like, "Do it.
Just
Do the roar."
grab his mouth and just King Kong him.
Well, because Tom was not holding back on those punches.
May I have a second to explain King Konging?
I don't think you need to.
I don't know if everyone
Well, King
understands.
Konging. Explain it.
This is one of me and my brother's favorite things.
And it's like a staple for every King Kong to do this.
Every
now.
King Kong movie, if he does not grab a creature by the top jaw and the bottom jaw and
And
pull it until there's a crack, 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 crack,
Until the bottom jaw falls off.
it's not a King Kong movie.
No.
He does it in every time he's appeared.
Yep.
Yep.
King Kong's a creature.
All right. We need to wrap this up. This is on track to be the longest podcast we've ever made. Rightfully so.
Longest Spider-Man movie.
Right. So the shield that Lady Liberty is now holding falls. And
That's when it goes down.
Tom destroys
I was gonna
his
say,
glider.
You want me to go zoop through this?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom takes pumpkin bomb, shoves it in the goblin's butthole on the glider.
It does look like that.
It really does. It looks like he just right in there.
But
And glider goes down. As the shield is falling down, it lands at the base of what's the name of the island? Amity Island?
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't live in New York.
Amity? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Okay. So it's on the island. It's on the shore. It's in the water. And
It's like half in the water, half on shore.
yeah, glider goes down, and he's fighting Goblin, beating the crap out of Goblin. They're down. They get down to the ground.
And they're on the shield. This is where the final fight takes place.
Yeah. Tom is beating the crap out of
Tom
Goblin.
is literally
And they're
not holding
hand
back.
to hand.
Like, and
You
yes.
see him not pull one of those punches.
No.
You see him punch right into the shield, and there is a crater. Not a dent,
Right.
a crater.
Uh-huh. And then they're fighting. He gets sliced. Tom gets sliced on the arm from one of Goblin's blades.
And it makes him angrier.
Oh, yeah, he gets pissed. And then he webs one of his feet to the ground, and then he just goes for it.
He just goes,
He is
beating him.
And when
fighting
I
him.
say winding up from downtown, his fist was touching the floor, and then he started the punch. Like
He
was
went from Queens to Brooklyn.
like he was punching as probably the
I
hardest he's
say
ever
that,
punched.
I have no idea how far away they are.
And it's Liberty Island. It used to be Bedloe's Island.
Liberty Island?
Yeah.
There we go.
Um,
Amity Island's the place in Jaws. I just realized that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus.
Jaws comes out of the water and saves Spider-Man.
And kills everyone.
He kills Green Goblin.
Well, and so Tom is beating the crap, and I'm like,
Literally. He's
Goblin
going
has
for it.
never gotten his ass kicked this hard ever.
Yeah, it's like vibe checking the kid
And-
that's always like poking you in class.
Right.
Like he finally poked you too much.
And then
turn around and punch him in the
Toby
mouth.
and Andrew kind of walk over and are seeing this, and so do MJ and Ned, and they're kind of watching this.
Yeah, everyone's
And
just
then
kinda-
Toby and Andrew kind of just look at each other and nod their heads like, yeah, we better probably stop this. And then
we
Tom walks
we don't
over-
want to let him go through this.
Tom
Oh.
remembers how Goblin dies,
Yeah.
which is getting stabbed by his own glider.
Or
He-
Tom doesn't know that. He just sees spikes on a glider and he's just like,
No,
I'm gonna-
he was told that.
he was told that?
Yes, back in the prison, he's like,
Oh yeah, he was told
Yeah.
that. Okay.
so that's why like
He lifts it over his head.
and he's about to destroy
Bring it
Goblin,
down.
and Toby jumps in front
And gives him the
and
face.
holds it and like is
Like-
like holding it. Like I kind of sounded like Tom just stabs Toby. No, Toby is blocking the thing and is looking at him like, what the hell are you doing right now?
Like that.
This is not
that
what we
family
do.
member look. That's just like, you don't want to do this.
Yeah, like
You were better
I've
than
gone
this.
through this. You do not want to do this. And then we hear and Toby's face gets like wide-eyed.
The Toby look.
Yeah, and my heart sinks into my toes there.
Yeah,
Like,
our
I
first
immediately
thought is
felt
just
sick
like,
to my
oh
stomach.
my god, they killed Toby.
I felt sick to my
I was
stomach.
like, Toby, no!
and,
Like, I stood up out of my seat and screamed. I was like, ah!
and then we
sat
see
back down.
and then
Everybody in the theater was horrified.
and he falls. We see Andrew hop down and throw a 150-mile-per-hour fastball. Tom whips around and catches it and stabs Goblin in the neck with his antidote
cures him,
and cures him.
quote unquote.
And then Norman comes out and he's like, "What did I do?" He looks at Toby and looks back at Tom like, "What did I just do?" And then Andrew hops down and goes over to comfort Peter. He's like, "Man, are you all right? Are you all right? And he's like, "Yes, I've been stabbed before." And like that kind of like sigh of relief, you know, like I just I've never experienced such a sigh of relief before. Tom goes back up to the top of the Statue of Liberty to talk to Doctor Strange and tells him,
do the spell. Make the world forget about Peter Parker
forget about Peter, not
entirely.
yeah, forget
No one
who
remembers
Peter Parker is.
after the spell is done.
And Doctor Strange kind of feels torn because he's probably grown to like Peter.
Yeah, no. Doctor Strange cries.
Like Doctor Strange was like, "We're all gonna forget who
after
you are."
earlier, he was just like, "You can call me sir,"
Right, and
because
now
he's like pissed at him, and then finally it's back to, "I'm gonna miss you.
yeah, he's like,
See you
"It was
around."
nice knowing you, kid," or something like that. And then he's like, "You better go say your goodbyes because you don't have long."
He goes to tell Toby and Andrew bye.
And that made me cry.
I cried
because
again.
he's like, "Thank you," and then
And he hugs them.
they like
Am
we
I
see
the only one who doesn't cry at movies?
Yes.
you don't have a soul.
I do have a
I
soul.
didn't used to cry at movies, and then Yondu died.
I didn't used to cry at movies. Wait, no, I'm lying. I've cried at any sad movie.
I mean, I cried
get
at
too
Bambi's
attached to-
mom, but
I get too attached to characters. I get too attached to people in a small amount
Actually,
of
no,
time.
I take that back. It wasn't Yondu. It was Godzilla.
It was Godzilla.
you
Godzilla
cried
made
at
me cry.
Godzilla.
Damn right, I cried at Godzilla. Godzilla's my best friend.
So anyway, we have a really sweet interaction between the three Spider-Man, and he's like Tom's kind of struggling to find his words like Peter Parker does, and Andrew goes, Peter. It's what, and then Toby finishes the sentence. It's what we do.
It's what we do.
And that gave me goosebumps just saying it. Kind of trying to fight back tears just talking about it.
Right. That for some reason was more than hearing with great power come. I forgot about that.
What?
When Tom starts saying with great power, and then Toby finishes it and comes great responsibility.
No, Andrew said it, and then
Toby finished it.
Toby
I thought Tom
finished
said it first, and then like the hairs on the back of my neck stood up and.
No, you were right.
Waterworks.
You were right. Tom was saying all she said to me was with great power, and then they were both like, Toby finishes it, and Andrew goes, Uncle Ben used to say it.
Uncle Ben told me that.
But okay, so back to the thing. We have a nice sweet interaction.
Back to the end.
We have a nice sweet interaction between the three Spider-Men. He's like, I gotta go find MJ and Ned. We go find MJ and Ned.
And then Tom and Andrew are hugging each other.
We get. Yeah, they're like Andrew's basically supporting Toby because he literally just got stabbed in the back.
Literally. He's just like,
and I kind of saw it. I was
you?
like, he has his back turned to Green Goblin. The only something bad can come from this.
Right.
But he goes and finds Ned. We get one last best friends handshake.
That made me cry
because every time him and Ned, like when I saw them at the end of Endgame, at the end of Endgame reunite after the snap, I cried. That was when I started crying the hardest at the first time I saw Endgame, and then this made me cry. Like
these movies have so much power.
Oh my God, they do. And but before like the last best friends handshake, he's like, "You guys are gonna forget me," and
I'll come find
you. And we get one last best friends handshake. MJ's like, "You better come find me, or I'll just figure it out because I've done it before." And she says, "I love you," and then he's about to say it back. And she goes, "Don't say it until you find me again." And speaking of "I love you," Andrew comes up to Toby and Tom before they make their redemption after getting their ass kicked for the first time. And he goes, "I love you guys."
And they're just like, "Thank you."
Like Toby and Tom both go, "Thanks." And he put on their masks and they go kick ass. But I just thought that was really funny.
It was awesome
interaction. Leave it to Andrew for being over affectionate.
I did like that.
And then we get the kiss because I don't think we've seen them kiss yet.
We have.
I think we did.
When?
No, Far From Home.
I think in Far From Home there was like a peck.
Okay. Well, they kiss.
But this
the big
one is
kiss.
like the big one.
Yeah, it's a big kiss. It wasn't the. He was talking in press tours. He was talking about the upside down making out scene in the rain. And that wasn't in this, so that was just to throw people off.
But there's a lot going on in this last bit.
Right.
The world forgets who he is.
The world forgets who he is.
And
do you want to talk about the last part of the movie? You guys,
yes,
because I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna move my microphone away from my face.
Connor, you got this with me?
Yeah.
All right. So
you do the last part of the movie, and then Connor will do the post credit scenes.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are. Tom, Andrew, and Toby are now gone. All the other villains, they have dissipated. The spell is in works. And then we get Tom walking up the street. And he's rehearsing to himself what he's going to say to MJ because he remembers where she works because she still works in the same place. Just nobody knows who Peter Parker is. No one has any recollection of Peter Parker. Absolutely no one knows who Peter Parker is. People know Spider-Man. And the thing that tells us this just before that scene is actually J. Jonah, and he's just like...
Sorry to interrupt, but like I was kind of pointing this out to Wyatt that like all the Avengers and all the heroes will remember fighting Thanos with him.
Yeah, with
they
Spider-Man.
just won't remember that it was Peter. And Wyatt was like, "Oh my God, you're right."
And that fixes my biggest problem with this Spider-Man. He kept telling everybody who he was.
But back to you. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just thought
I had to collect myself after a second because I just realized how awesome that is. But yeah, that like we have this moment now where J. Jonah's saying, "And no one knows who Spider-Man is, the wall-crawling menace to society. Maybe one day we'll find out who he is." And then you get Tom walking up the street. He goes into the donut shop. He goes to he orders a coffee instead of saying.
Well, because he was rehearsing. Yeah, he was rehearsing what he was going to say to MJ.
And then Ned walks in to talk to MJ, and they both got accepted to MIT. Zendaya. MJ walks back up, and she's just like,
"Well, because
here's your coffee," and he's just like, "You excited for MIT?"
Right.
And they talk about that for a little bit, and then it's very quiet, and he looks at her, she looks at him, and she has this look of like, have I seen you before? That kind of like hesitation look. And then he's just like,
well, because
I'll see you around sometime.
He finishes her motto of
and that's when she's
if you
just
expect disappointment, you won't ever be disappointed, or something like that.
Right. And then that's when we get Peter Parker finally leaving, and then we see him moving into his new apartment by himself.
Which I thought looked suspiciously like the apartment from Spider-Man PS4, not the one that we see at the beginning of the game, but the one we see at the end of the game where Miles tells him that he has spider powers too.
Yeah.
Rent.
Yeah, and we're going to call him Ditkovich so far because we don't have another name for the landlord. Right. We're just going to call him that for namesake.
Rent's at the first of the month. If you're late, you're out.
You're evicted.
Right.
And then he's unloading his boxes. You see him take his little Lego Emperor and put it back onto the table.
The same one from Homecoming that him and Ned are building the Death Star.
And he sets up his apartment. He gets set up. He makes himself at home. And then it zooms in on a sewing machine.
And we passed. Some time has to pass.
Yeah, it goes from like day to night.
Yeah,
there could be days that go by because it takes a while to do. It takes a long time to sew.
Yeah, to make a new. Yeah,
he makes himself a new suit.
And I love this suit so much.
It looks good. We don't get a very clear look at it. Which
so much like
better than the red and black.
So much better than the red and black. Oh yeah, that's something. The red and black suit changes between the end of Far From Home and the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of clear differences.
That suit with the gold on it is not a different suit. It's just a
Inside
leftover.
Out.
No, I'm talking about the black.
It's the black suit but inside out.
That's not when he gets the gold.
Right, the wiry looking.
No,
gold
the
suit.
gold spider.
Right.
Later in the movie, when
you're
Doc
talking about the integrated suit.
Yeah, the new bot. When the nanobots come back onto him and he doesn't have the rest of the suit.
I'm just sitting here.
Intervene!
Intervene!
No.
Intervene!
I don't want to interrupt.
Just do it.
No.
Do it.
No.
Well,
fine.
We see we see Rockefeller Center, which we're gonna see
At
again.
Christmas.
Yes, with the big tree, and we're gonna see that again next week because that's where the final
season finale of
Hawkeye. Which we're gonna do. If we see a red and blue Spider-Man swinging over them as they fight, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Because here's a big deal of, I'm estimating it's probably not gonna be what happens, but you see Hawkeye and Kate Bishop looking up a bunch in that final trailer.
I will cry. I will cry. I will poop my pants. It's something in the group chat, whatever, like our group chat.
All right.
But he's swinging over Rockefeller Center at Christmas time, and guess who else is at Rockefeller
at Christmas time?
At Christmas time,
it's Hawkeye.
It's Hawkeye. Hawkeye is happening during this final scene. There's somewhere in the story. There's somewhere in the story of Hawkeye, the final swing is happening. And let me just say, I love this the colors, the color contrast of this new suit.
Looks so vibrant.
And he made it himself.
Oh, something I noticed in that slight glimpse of what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
That spider on the front and back looks a lot like the concept art we got for Civil War.
Really?
To me, it looked very similar. And my favorite part is it still has two-dimensional webs.
Yeah.
They're not raised.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a two-dimensional websuit, and it's going to look great, I think.
Oh, from the final swing, it looked amazing.
The eyes aren't going to move anymore.
They're not?
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to use an automated eye.
Well, because he's making the suit, not Iron Man making the suit.
Right.
But
he made the suit himself.
I've always been fine with the not moving eyes for the live action Spider-Man.
Technically, he is smart enough to do it himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
True.
But
he had the suit.
You can use the old mask.
That's true.
Because it is. Yeah, it's the same color red.
Same color red.
Same color red. Exactly.
That means he has
works.
Karen still.
That would be true.
And yeah, did he get Edith? Taken away from him?
I think they destroyed Edith. Actually, yeah. What happened to Edith?
I don't know. Anyway, so that's the end of the movie. Final swing. Over Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, the final swing of the movie, and it's bittersweet.
Yes.
We know that the future is coming. The next trilogy of Spider-Man movies, and I think we're moving from Homecoming into Ultimate.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Post-credit scenes.
Post-credit scenes.
Okay.
Connor.
So we meet back up with Eddie Brock. He's still in. Was it Mexico?
Yes, and he's still in the MCU universe.
He's still in the MCU, and I don't. I'm sorry.
Bless you.
I don't understand how he got there. Still.
How he got where?
To the MCU because he didn't know there was no Peter Parker.
Did you not see the post-credit scene for Venom?
I mean, yeah, I
You were there.
understood that.
I think he's questioning like how did Venom get into this exact.
I mean, but it goes to show that maybe there's a hive mind across like dimensions.
I don't understand your thinking process on this. Please explain.
What if one Venom can talk to another Venom across dimensions?
But
What if there's a hive mind of it?
Well, and see, I rose a point to Wyatt and about like this. So, long story short, at the end of the post-credit scene, Eddie gets faded away into his own universe, like we saw all the other villains and
Yeah.
other Spider-Man do.
Yeah.
And then there's a little piece of Venom left
Exactly.
on the countertop. And I said to Wyatt, I said, what if they bring back Eddie Brock from the Venom movies by connecting Tom Holland? Like that symbiote, that little piece of symbiote will eventually connect with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then him and Eddie get a connection through, because it's technically the same Venom. So
Yeah.
like they start to like they like connect and they'll have to like communicate.
Yeah.
But like I don't know how that would work. But
And
second post-credit scene, we get a very special look at
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
yes.
And
This is gonna. Oh my god.
it's gonna make me have to watch What If, because
I don't know if that's the same Doctor Strange from What If
it
though.
looks like it though.
But his
Not-
eyes aren't black, and his skin is pale, but it's not white.
right, I was thinking about the outfit is more what I was thinking about.
yeah, me too.
And he doesn't have that massive cape on him as
Yeah.
well. But that could have been taken out.
Exactly.
Right, there's a lot you can change. In
And
post-credits.
also, it's still in like production of the movie, right?
No, production wrapped.
Oh, production wrap.
They
It's
might
like,
still be doing some after
and
stuff.
VFX and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they had to go back for some reshoots I heard, but other than that,
Yeah.
it should be finished.
but like
Oh my God,
seriously,
that comes out in
So
November.
a lot of people thought Wanda was gonna be the main villain, but from what it looked like, I think they're just gonna end up doing a superhero team up type thing.
Yes, I think she's a team up. America Chavez is in the movie, her first appearance in the MCU.
wait, America Shot. Oh, that was her.
That's
Yeah.
America Chavez.
Oh,
There's going to be a huge villain, not Shumagorath. Lego set spoiled this. It's not Shumagorath. It is Gargantos, I believe.
That's the villain, like a villain.
He's going to be a villain.
Okay.
It appears that the main villain's going to be Baron Mordo. Marvel Legends spoiled that there's this Hasbro's line of toys. The Build-A-Figure for that series, for that movie, is going to be this Minotaur dude. I don't remember his name.
But he's a
big green
he's a
minotaur.
wizard though.
Yes, he's a wizard from another planet.
And then what's his name is back. My favorite character from Doctor Strange 1. I forget his name though. The black dude who.
Baron Mordo.
Baron Mordo.
Okay.
That's who I said. He has dreads now
Become
Yeah,
villain.
he has dreads now
and a crossbow.
and a crossbow. But he was my favorite part of Doctor Strange 1. I liked him a lot. But
It's about time we get his post-credit scene to like full
answer.
come to
But
fruition.
it's been 2015 is when Doctor Strange came out.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
Oh my lord.
If I'm not mistaken,
Wait, no, November 2016
2016.
or October
Are
2016.
you sure?
It's one or the other. Because I wanted to see it for my birthday.
But it's been a long time since Doctor Strange was in his own movie.
No, hold on. I know this. It came out November 15th, 2016. I remember because I wanted to go see the movie, and me and our good friend Larry, me and Connor know him. We were talking about it. He went to see the movie.
I
He said
know
he
him.
liked it. Well, yeah, but me and Connor,
Your guys are his friends.
yeah. And we had that moment of everything. We were talking about the movie. He said it was great. And I was like, oh, I need to go see it because I remember it was after the cast list came out for the Shakespeare show, Much Ado About Nothing, we did that year, and I got a leading role.
And you couldn't go see it.
2016.
I didn't go see it because I was lazy and I just forgot to go see it.
But anyway, that was the last post-credit scene. We are an hour and 30 minutes into this podcast.
Good.
The longest podcast that we've ever done.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
we
boys.
need to make a special thumbnail for it.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll try. All right.
I can-
Anyway,
I can go put on a crappy cardboard Spider-Man mask and show it to you guys.
yeah, I can.
I'll send it to
figure
you.
I'll figure it out.
I've got a Dr. Octopus claw. I can take a picture of it, grab it on my face or
That's not
something.
a bad idea. I'll do that.
Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining us on this crazy, life-changing movie ride. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Please make sure to leave a like on this video if you haven't already. Make sure to click that little bell next to the subscribe button. Wyatt, what's the secret word?
I was actually going to say some other stuff. After you subscribe to us, go check us out on Instagram at _time_sweeps, and then on Twitter at _time_sweeps.
What's the secret word?
Secret word, it is going to be wall crawler.
Wall crawler is the secret word. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard
I
him.
promise it's one word.
thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode, and make sure to tune in next week. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.